Every year, roughly 1,400 black widow spider exposures are reported to poison centers across the United States. More than half of those reported exposures involve men, and about 1 in 10 ends with a hospital admission. But the most important thing about a black widow is not how many people encounter one. It is how easily you can be inches away from one without realizing it. A female black widow does not need to chase you. She can spend most of her life in one small web, hidden in a protected corner, waiting for vibrations. And that is exactly why people sometimes get too close. The spider stays still. The web blends into the background. Your hand moves first. By the time you notice the glossy black body, you may already be inside her space. The adult female is the animal behind the reputation. Her abdomen is smooth, rounded, and often almost mirror black. Underneath is the marking everyone knows, a red or orange hourglass. But here is the first detail worth remembering. You may not see that marking from above. If the spider is sitting upright, hiding in silk, or turned away from you, the most famous warning sign can be completely invisible. And that matters because young black widows do not always look like the adult female either. Juveniles can carry pale stripes, spots, and patterns across the abdomen. Males are smaller, lighter, and far less dramatic in appearance. So the black widow most people picture is only one stage, and one sex, of a much more complicated animal. Now look at the web. It does not resemble the neat circular web you see stretched between tree branches. Widow webs are irregular, three-dimensional, and messy-looking. Strands cross in different directions. Strong silk lines connect the spider to the surrounding structure, and sticky trap lines can reach downward toward the ground. To us, it may look like a neglected cobweb. To the widow, it is a sensory system, a shelter, and a hunting machine. The spider does not need good eyesight to know what is happening around her. The web tells her. A struggling insect creates one pattern of vibration. A falling leaf creates another. A threat touching the silk sends a different signal. The widow reads those vibrations through her legs, and when prey hits the right part of the web, she can react with surprising speed. This is where the black widow stops looking like a spider that simply waits around. Once prey is trapped, she moves in, uses silk to restrict its movement, and delivers venom through her fangs. The venom was built for animals much smaller than us. It helps immobilize prey quickly enough that the spider can feed without taking unnecessary damage herself. Black widows commonly capture insects and other arthropods with their web and use silk to restrain prey. And that same venom is the reason humans give this spider so much respect. Black widow venom affects the nervous system. A bite can begin with pain near the site and later produce muscle cramping, sweating, nausea, and pain that spreads beyond the original bite. That does not mean every black widow encounter becomes a medical emergency. It also does not mean the spider is harmless. The right way to understand this animal is somewhere between panic and carelessness. Its venom is medically significant, but the spider has very little reason to waste that venom on something it cannot eat. And this leads to one of the most important behaviors in the entire story. Black widows are defensive, not predatory toward people. When disturbed, a widow may retreat, drop away, pull deeper into the web, or try to avoid contact. A bite becomes more likely when the spider is pressed, pinched, trapped, or given no easy route to escape. That is why a hand entering a hidden web is a much more realistic danger than a black widow running across the floor to attack someone. The spider is not searching for you. You are entering a space that already belongs to the spider. There is another reason this animal has such a dark reputation, and it is hidden in the name widow. For generations, people have repeated the story that the female always kills and eats the male after mating. It is one of the most famous examples of animal cannibalism in popular culture. But the real behavior is more complicated than the legend. The male approaches the female's web carefully. He is much smaller, and every vibration he creates matters. He cannot move through the web like ordinary prey and expect a good outcome. Courtship involves signals that help tell the female that the animal entering her web is a potential mate, not simply another meal. Cannibalism can happen, but it is not an automatic ending to every mating encounter. The name survived because the story is memorable, not because every male is guaranteed to die. And when you watch the size difference between a mature female and a male, It is easy to understand why the myth became so powerful. After mating comes another stage that changes the behavior of the web. The female produces a silken egg sac and keeps it suspended in a protected part of her retreat. Suddenly, the web is not only a hunting structure, it is also a nursery. Black widow females suspend their egg sacs in the web. That egg sac can become one of the easiest clues that a widow has established herself in a location. The female remains close, and the web around the sac becomes a place worth treating with extra caution. A spider that usually wants to avoid unnecessary conflict now has something else inside the web to protect. Eventually, tiny spiderlings emerge, and they look nothing like the large black female that gave the species its reputation. They are small, patterned, fragile-looking, and easy to mistake for completely different spiders. As they grow and molt, their appearance changes. The familiar glossy black body develops later. For a while, these young spiders may remain close together before dispersing. Then each begins the same basic search that defines the adult's life: find shelter, build silk, detect prey, avoid larger predators, and survive long enough to reproduce. And black widows are not simply sitting around waiting for humans. Their entire world is built around prey. Insects that crawl or fall into the web become food. The widow helps remove small animals that people usually consider pests, even though no homeowner should deliberately keep a medically significant spider in a high-contact area just for pest control. The deeper you look at the black widow, the less it resembles the movie monster in its name. The red hourglass is not a symbol designed for us. The venom did not evolve for us. The web was not built for us. We are simply large animals that sometimes put our hands into the wrong place. That is why the safest response begins with distance. If you find a black widow in an outdoor location where nobody is likely to touch it, do not handle it. If it is in a garage, shed, storage area, or another place where accidental contact is possible, keep hands away from the web and deal with the situation without pressing the spider against skin or clothing. If a bite does occur, move away from the spider. Wash the area with soap and water. Apply something cold, and pay attention to developing symptoms. Do not cut the wound, squeeze it, or try to remove venom yourself. Significant pain, muscle cramping, breathing trouble, or spreading symptoms are reasons to seek professional medical guidance. But prevention is much easier than treatment. Shake out work gloves and boots that have been sitting unused. Look before reaching into dark storage spaces. Wear gloves when moving wood or outdoor materials. And if you see irregular webbing in a protected corner, do not put your fingers through it, just to find out what made it. The black widow does not need to be exaggerated to be fascinating. It is a small, highly specialized predator with strong silk, powerful venom, a complex courtship system, and a life built around reading vibrations most of us would never even notice. So the next time you see a glossy black spider hanging quietly in a tangled web, do not think of an animal waiting to attack you. Think of an animal waiting for information. Every movement in that silk means something. The real danger begins when the signal entering the web is your hand. Look first, reach second. And if you have ever found a black widow around your garage, porch, shed, or backyard, tell us where you found it in the comments. That may help someone else know exactly where to look before they reach.